Okay, so welcome to week 2, everybody. Lovely to be joined by so many lovely ladies tonight. And again, apologies for the slightly dodgy voice. Got a large honey and lemon here on standby. And thank you to those of you watching the playback as well. As always, please ask questions, comments throughout. And if you're on the playback, comment in the Facebook group. You've got the chat facility there as well, so if you want to send me a private message and you can't for any reason unmute yourself, or you want to make a contribution, you can do that in the chat box, and you can choose whether you send that to everybody or you send it just to me. So feel free to help yourself. And I think here comes Caroline, which is very exciting. She's managed to get on. Hello.
Hello,
welcome.
Yay.
There, she's in. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to put the phone to one side now. Brilliant. Well, welcome, Caroline. I know it's your first time on the webinar, so welcome. So tonight, Caroline, just so you know, the second part of this is a separate link, and I've just put it in the chat box. Can you see the chat box on your screen? On the right-hand side, normally. If you wiggle your mouse near the bottom of the page, it might say chat and you might have to click on it.
Oh, yeah, I've got it.
So just save that link before we disappear, and then it will come back.
Okay.
Okay, and just to let you know, we are recording now. Okay, so procrastination is the theme for week 2. So fabulous that some of you have turned up tonight, not procrastinated over attending. Always a bonus. So tonight we're going to be looking at procrastinating and action taking and what you might want to do. So the Monday just gone is normally known as Blue Monday because it's so far away from Christmas now, but payday seems even further away. And so Blue Monday, and certainly particularly this week, is the week when a lot of people have challenges or struggle a bit more in terms of anything they might have said they're going to keep to at the beginning of the year. You know, motivation starts to slide a bit. We're getting up earlier in the mornings. It's very dark. It's so miserable out there today, isn't it? And that can all affect our motivational levels as well. So tonight we're going to be talking a bit about that, and I'm going to be sharing some questions and some thoughts for you to think about in terms of procrastinating. There should also be some opportunity in the second half of this call as well. So if anybody is procrastinating over something in particular and they'd like a bit of support with that, or a bit of coaching, and you're willing to do that in front of the other people for the learning, then there is that opportunity for you to talk something through, or to talk through and help each other with something as well. So first off, we are fabulous storytellers. So we are very good at predicting the future. We like to think about, you know, that worst case scenario that's going to happen, or that thing we're not going to do. And sometimes we get so caught up in our own stories that we just end up totally stuck and don't do anything at all. And so my first question for you tonight is, if you do nothing right now, where are you self-sabotaging? So if you do nothing right now, where are you self-sabotaging? Now, when I say right now, I don't literally mean on this call, but I mean just generally in life, whatever is going on for you at the moment. If you're in the middle of trying to make a decision, or trying to get something done, or have a new shift of perspective or mindset, if you do nothing at all, where are you sabotaging? Where are you stopping yourself from being or doing something? It's a really powerful question to think about. It may not be one you can answer straight away. It may be one that you want to ponder over. But does anyone want to share anything, or any thoughts of how that makes you feel when I say that?
Well, mine is I work from home, so I generally clean the house a lot instead of doing my work, you know, because you're sitting there looking at the washing and the cleaning and whatever else. So I know I need to try and be more focused. So that's like, I don't know why I'm just, I am just procrastinating. Don't want to get started. Don't want to do it.
And it makes you feel better, because if you go and do something else that needs to be done, You almost feel like you're rewarding yourself, like, oh, well done, I've done really well, I've gone and sorted the washing out, or I've gone and sorted the, you know, whatever. And you almost feel like you're justifying your reason for leaving that other activity, don't you?
Yeah, that's it, because you do still get a little buzz from doing the cleaning or the washing, or like you say, these other tasks. They're like, oh, I'm ahead of the game now. Good.
Yeah.
So like you say, but I need to not get the buzz out of that and get the buzz out of something else that was going to get me further in life than cleaning and washing.
Absolutely. But if you ever want to procrastinate, come round to mine, I'll save you some bits, that's no problem.
Yeah, and me.
We can have a rota system, Jo, whilst this programme's going. If you want to come round, I'm sure we can share, can't we, ladies?
I'm exactly the same as well. Working from home, if I see something needs doing in the kitchen, I go in there and I think I'll do 2 emails and I'll go and do this and that. And my house is a lot tidier, so I need to stop doing that as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the thing is, when we get really stuck into something, it's brilliant. I mean, I was the same. So I've been procrastinating over sorting something out for the business. And a call I was on finished earlier than I'd expected this afternoon, and I had an extra 30 minutes of time. So I literally came and shut myself in here, and I was like, right, just do it. And I was like, right, I'm just literally going to do it now. And I got it done, and I feel fabulous for doing it now. But sometimes we just have to push ourselves to motivate ourselves. That motivation comes as we start the work, if that makes sense. And I ended up doing an hour's worth of stuff and got loads more done, and I felt brilliant afterwards. But it's, like you said, it's that getting it started, isn't it? Is the hardest bit, really, isn't it?
See, I find it okay to get things done, but it's the procrastination if you've got too many choices.
Okay.
And it's about making the right choice, and sometimes when you make a choice on something, you've got to rely on someone else, or you've got to organise other things, and it's almost like a snowball effect. And sometimes I almost get stuck halfway up or down the mountain in the snowball because I'm waiting for answers or other things to connect together. And then you lose that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you feel quite frustrated because that control is taken away from you as well, isn't it? And then I was going to say, and then it literally snowballs, but that don't mean it.
That's a good one.
But this is great, ladies. Thank you so much for everyone has shared so far, because this is really helpful, and hopefully it's making all of you think about some of the things that might be going on for you at the moment where you might be procrastinating or on the verge of it, and how that feels. So here's something for you to really grasp. So change happens in the most specific moment, when you've got a specific insight and specific behavioural intention. I'll say that again. The change happens in the most specific moment with a specific insight and specific behavioural intention. So change is only going to happen when you truly align with wanting to do it, basically, is what it's saying. I didn't mention this on Friday, but one of the things I refer to is CBAS. Has anyone heard of CBAS when it comes to procrastination? CBAS, C-B-A-S, can't be asked syndrome. Yeah. So we all have CBAS sometimes, and it's the fact that sometimes we even know we're doing it, and we still choose to do that. We still choose to stay with CBAS. So change is not going to happen until we truly decide to have that behaviour to want to make the change. So that means we need to be truly aligned to it. So in the case of Jo, where she's going around like frenzy cleaner, it could well be because Jo's not valuing the task that she wants to do. And this is purely hypothetical, Jo. This is in no way I understand obviously what's going on in your head. It could be she's not truly valuing what it is that she needs to do. It could be that what she's trying to achieve, the expectations are too much. So she's decided, I don't know, she's going to write a book and she's going to write the whole thing in half an hour. Then she's more likely to go and clean, because the thought of starting that is probably really fearful, because she knows it's too much of a task to complete within that time frame. So again, sometimes you need to ask yourself, what is it that's actually stopping me from moving forward? So like you said, in Caroline's case, it could be because I don't have all the answers. Maybe I'm waiting for someone else to come back to me. Is it because actually I just don't want to do it? I don't feel aligned to it, or it doesn't meet with my values? So if it's a task that you just you don't want to do because it really doesn't align with what you believe in, or in Mandy's case, and again I don't know for definite, but she's done a couple of emails and she nips off to do something else, is because perhaps maybe she's done emails for quite a bit and she needs to try a different task and then come back to it, rather than try and do all the emails in one hit, because maybe she's getting a bit bored. I don't know what Mandy's emails contain, but she might be getting a bit bored. So it's thinking again, is actually what's really stopping me from staying and being with whatever it is that I need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one of the questions that you can ask yourself if you're truly procrastinating and you know that there's a big thing that you want to do, it's about what's the most valuable, useful and powerful thing that I could do right now to move me forward. And it may be one of those, it may be two of those, it may be all three. So it's valuable, useful and powerful thing I could do right now. So the powerful thing could be to believe in yourself. Maybe this is about trying a new hobby, or having an honest conversation with somebody, or trying a new food, or I don't know, getting a task done around the house, whatever it is. The most powerful thing you could do is actually believe that you can do it.
Launching Zoom.
Yeah, there you go, right? So you've just completely nailed that tonight.
Because I nearly gave up.
Well, I wasn't going to. If it was the case, I would have called you and you could have listened over the phone.
I know. I wasn't going to let that happen.
Exactly. So what drove you to keep trying? Do you mind if I ask?
Because I missed last week and I missed Friday.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to let the bugger beat me. I just thought it's not going to beat me. I'm just going to be away.
And do you know what? Technology is a really challenging thing. I mean, like I say, I've never had an issue where it's not recorded before, but hey, I can't change it. I'm not going to get stressed about it. A couple of years ago, I would have taken it to Armageddon and fear of half the people going to come off the programme because I can't work Zoom out, and I'm let it go. So well done. I think also, Caroline's probably a bit of FOMO there, fear of missing out as well. So
sorry, Claire?
FOMO, FOMO, fear of missing out.
Oh yes, yeah.
So, for all of you, both we've got two of the Helen contingencies on tonight. Dawn, Mandy, Caroline, and Jo. You're all showing up. You're all giving us you're all giving me your evening, and I'm very grateful. And you're all supporting each other. This is a community of practice in itself, in that no one else will be able to experience what you guys are experiencing on this call, even if they watch the playback. So it's whatever way you're absorbing this is absolutely fantastic. So it is about what's valuable. Is the valuable could be getting the resource or working out, so in Caroline's case, working out how to use Zoom, and letting her computer actually download it. And useful could be, maybe you've been procrastinating over doing a particular task because you don't understand how to do it. So I know for me, like when I've had to write reports and things, I'm like, oh, you just don't know where to start. You start with a blank piece of paper, don't you? And it's really hard. So again, it's just sometimes think about, do you need to do all of this yourself? Is there someone else that you could reach out to that could help you? So, sometimes you might need some external motivation or championing to help you move forward. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Right, now. So sometimes when we procrastinate again, it could be because we're dealing with emotion. So if you are cross about something, or you're frustrated or you're upset about something, you may be procrastinating from moving forward with a certain thing because you're upset. You might be upset with yourself, you might be upset with the situation, you might be upset with somebody else. Yeah? So there's a great statement, which again I shall read out to you. And do you remember blanket? I feel like blankety blank here. You get to fill in the blanks. Do you all remember blankety blank? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I know I'm sounding a bit funny. I'm almost worried I'm on another level. So given that you are blank, what can you do next? So given that you are blank, what can you do next? So the idea is, given that I am cross, what can I do next? Or given that I'm frustrated, or given that I'm thrilled, or whatever it is. It's thinking about what emotion are you in, and then actually acknowledging that you're in that emotion. So many of you, have you all heard me talk about the sink, the U-bend before with emotions?
Yeah.
Anyone not heard me talk about?
Haven't heard you talk about that.
Haven't heard me talk about U-bend.
No.
Right. So if you imagine like you've got a sink and a U-bend, and you get a blockage in the middle of the U-bend, and then you need Mr. Muscle or whatever to push it through to clear the blockage.
Yeah.
That's what I say emotion is like. So emotion tends to sit in our stomachs, and obviously this isn't a physical blockage necessarily, but what happens is that unless you actually acknowledge whatever emotion you are in, you will never be able to move past it unless you actually acknowledge it. And this is what tends to happen to us a lot, is that throughout the week we can find that we're just a bit off balance, but we don't know why, or we're a bit upset or a bit frustrated, and it's probably because we're with an emotion and we've not acknowledged it. So if someone's annoyed us, if we don't admit to ourselves that that person's annoyed us, you will just sit with that emotion and it will fester and it will affect how you behave and what you think. So the idea being is that with that statement, given that you are blank, what can you do next? You actually need to acknowledge yourself. Do you know what? I'm really cross. I'm really cross that person cut me up at the junction or didn't tell me that needed doing, or whatever it is. And just acknowledging it can be really, really helpful. And especially even if you acknowledge it out loud, it's like you're reaffirming it. But it can be really, really powerful stuff to do that. It's amazing what changes from us, because sometimes people can sit with their emotions for a week and they don't realise what they're actually feeling. So the more that you can start connecting with your body and understanding what those emotions are, the better. Does that make sense? Sorry, a bit of honey and lemonade needed. And welcome to Sarah, who's joined us now. Oh dear, that sounds a bit funny. Okay. So, how are we doing so far? Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Does anybody want to ask anything at this stage? You may not do, but I just thought I'd
Nicola?
Yes.
Nicola, could you just go over, you said useful, powerful, and there was something else I can't remember.
Valuable.
Valuable.
Valuable, useful and powerful. So it might be one of them. So what's the most valuable thing I could do? What's the most powerful thing I could do? Or what's the most useful thing I could do? So for me, when I associate the word powerful, I'm thinking about mindset. I'm not thinking I need to put my cape on today and fly out the window. I'm thinking actually power for me is around shifting my perspective and truly believing what I need to believe in, or affirmations, whatever for me. Because actually our mind is our most powerful asset. So that's probably why I connect straight to the mind, also because I deal with the mind a lot. But for me, powerful is that. Youth could well be being honest with yourself. For me, again, acknowledging that emotion. Or useful could be getting hold of a resource or reading something to help you. And then the other one is valuable. So valuable could be, what's the most valuable thing I could do right now to move forward? It could be to just spend some time on my own. And what's been lovely is quite a lot of you this week have been coming into the group or private emailing me and messaging me saying, do you know what, one of the big things that you all seem to be having an insight of this week is I need a bit of time on my own. And I love that. I love sitting and reading those, because so often we think that time on our own is indulgent, or I'll do it if I get time, rather than actually making it a regular part of your day, just like when you charge your phones up. So valuable could well be around that. Does that help?
Definitely, thank you. Yeah,
I
think the one for me, that powerful one, the mindset one, is the key. When you think about actually inside you have a set of skills, but actually your mindset can stop you from acknowledging what those skills are, even for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
From experience.
Absolutely.
And yeah. And you can sort of just not believe that in yourself that you've got those skills. And really, like you said about storytelling, the narrative you can build around that is quite phenomenal, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then suddenly, like you say, when everything kind of aligns and you get this clarity of thought and feeling and motivation, and it all falls into place, it's quite overwhelming in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exciting.
Shall I share something that's happened to me today, if you're happy for me to share? So I'm not saying I'm a witch, I'm not saying I'm witchy, but I have learned to trust the universe a lot more and the signs that it gives me. And when I connect more with what I want in life and I look out for the signs, I think we get a lot more we look for a lot more opportunities. And there's something called street wisdom. I don't know if any of you have heard of street wisdom, whereas if you're trying to make a decision about something in your life, or you want to know the answer to something, then you ask the universe. Stay with me, ladies, I've not lost it, right? But you ask the universe, and then you go for a walk, and the universe will give you the answer on your walk. So you might walk past a sign and it will say what it is you need to know. It's very intuitive. But that's where you're saying, Helen, that's something I've learned to really lean into over the last few years, rather than sort of pull myself away from it. So when I started my coaching, I wasn't sure about using my intuition. I was frightened that if I said something that a client didn't like, they wouldn't want to work with me. But actually, I get told a lot by my clients that actually my intuition serves me very well and really nails things. And I've been pondering over a decision over the last couple of weeks about something. You may recognise that whenever I sign my name off in my business, I use a blue butterfly. And you'll see it on my signature on the emails, you'll see it in the Facebook group. And for those of you that came to my retreat last year, and if you've watched the video for Raw, you'll see there's a massive set of blue wings that hang in the barn. And so for me, butterflies are a huge part of my journey and a huge part of my, coming into myself and accepting my self-worth. So I've been pondering this particular thing about my worth over the last couple of weeks. I was sat at home this afternoon because I was working for the Prince's Trust this afternoon, and there was an almighty crash in the garden. And I was like, obviously it's very windy. I look out the patio doors. Now, at the end of last year, I created myself a little haven in the corner of our garden where I've put up like little solar bulbs and things, and a couple of butterflies, and one of the butterflies is a big blue butterfly, and in the wind the butterfly has detached itself from the brick wall and thrown itself across the patio, and one of the wings, I mean, this is a glass butterfly, thank the Lord, but it hasn't smashed, but one of the wings has unclipped itself and was quite far away on the patio. So you could either take that as it's just the wind's caught it, or for me it's chosen that particular colour butterfly to let go of the brick wall, and I think that is a sign for me. Haven't decided what it means yet, but it's something about, for me, for me the most powerful thing I could do today to move myself forward is to trust myself, would be what I'm saying tonight, actually, as I sit here retelling it to you. So the most powerful thing I can do today is trust myself with the answer I think I have. So I'll watch this space, but actually just saying it out loud and say thank you, ladies, that's been helpful. But yeah, trust is my most powerful thing tonight. That's quite a light bulb moment. So yeah, does that help? So
yeah, it does. It's what you say about the asking the universe. I do that. I have a little book and I write things. It can be about other people, things I'm worried about, little prayers, I suppose. And I've been thinking a lot about my life and what I want to do with my time since I've become a carer with my daughter. And it's given me a chance to really think about things. And I've written down, will I be a speech and language therapist anymore? Will I do that privately, or will I look at using music? And then the other question I had was something I've done, not as a job, but just as a kind of hobby, is I've worked with children with puppets before, and I do little sketches with them in a group.
Oh, brilliant.
And I haven't done that for a while. So I was thinking, well, what shall I do with my time? So I've written all these, what shall I do? Anyway, long story short, I've started teaching the piano. And it came to me like you said, that alignment. It was New Year's Eve, and I just had that moment where I thought it's exactly the right time. I've had these skills in me for years, and I've never thought I could do it, but I now believe I can. and I've started. And interestingly, then I spoke to my mum, and I said to her that I'd started, and I was so excited and so happy. And she said, "You're more," not knowing that I'd written about puppets or anything else in my diary. She said, "You're more keen to do this than you are about the puppets." And I just felt that the universe was telling me, do the music, the music. Don't worry about the puppets. Puppets will, they're a small thing on the side. It's not going to be a life-changing thing, but it just felt like everything is falling into place with it. And then I went for a dog walk the other day, and I'd met this mum in a play group that I went to volunteering, because I'm sort of exploring things like that as well. And she said, "Oh, can I have piano lessons with my son? My son wants piano lessons." So it's just things like that. You just think everything's slotting in.
It does. And when you open yourself up to these things, so again, the powerful shift could be a mindset that, when I talked about belief and trust, is that actually when you start putting yourself out there in the sense of you believe in this stuff, then you start to see the opportunities around you. Whereas, we have that phrase that says, "Oh, 2 bad things have happened to me today, I'm just waiting for the third." Then that's all you're training your brain to look for that day. Whereas at the moment, you've had a real shift in alignment, and you're looking for those possibilities. The other thing I think, if you're happy for me to just carry on with you for a moment, Helen, is that you're untapping your creativity. So this stuff around puppets and piano is all creative. And again, when we start opening ourselves up more, and we spend more time connecting with ourselves, that's when we unleash our creativity as well. So for all of you ladies on this call, and for those watching again, you may find that because you're on this journey of self-exploration over this month or so, you may find you start being a bit more creative with your thoughts, with things you want to do. You might want to be trying new things. You might find yourself doodling more, but you're starting to untap the creative part of your mind as well. So I'm expecting some great artwork next week. But, makes sense? Brilliant. So just to let you all know, we've got another 4 minutes on this call, and then we are going to swap over. So Sarah, just making sure you've got the link for the second half of this call. It's in the chat box. Okay, so make sure you save that before the call goes down. So
I'm sorry, I can't find it in the chat box. The chat box is open.
Right, let me send it again.
Now it is here.
There you go.
What do I do?
So literally, if you just save that, and then when this call goes down in a minute, just click on that and come straight back in. It's just Zoom only lets you record for 30 minutes, and it boots you out if you've got more than 2 people, unless you pay an extortionate rate. And I wanted to keep the price of the program down, so I was a cheapie and decided to do the free version. Okay. It makes it easier for saving as well, so that you don't have to watch a whole hour in one hit.
Yeah, it's 8:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it? Oh, it's 8. 8:05, sorry. I started at 7:30. Yeah, come on at 8.
Cool. So we've got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to make the most of these 3 minutes. So the last question I want to pose to you on this half of the call is, what exactly will you do differently and when? Dun, dun, dun. Big question. What exactly will you do differently and when? So for some of you, if, with all the insights that you've had over the last week, some of you are talking about, taking a moment out for yourself and having a cup of tea, being kind to yourself, having a quiet moment, having a nice bubble bath, whatever those things are, this is an opportunity for you to really put it into practice now. So all that stuff you've learned about self-care and taking a moment for yourself is actually, what exactly will you do differently and when? So that it could well be like, so for example, at the moment, I've got my honey and my lemon. If I hold it with both hands, like I'm hugging it, and just notice the heat of the liquid and the aroma, and see the steam, that in itself is a mindful moment. And actually, if you cross both, and this is a particularly big mug, but if you cross your hands over as well, Kristin Neff's work on self-compassion, which I think Isabel might touch on tomorrow, Kristin Neff talks about the fact that actually when you stroke your hands, or you just you hold your hands together, you release those positive hormones in your body, so oxytocin, which is why when babies are born, they're encouraged to have skin-to-skin contact straight away, and it's releasing those hormones. So let's see, Sarah's joining in the compassion. But again, that enough is a mindful moment. So, or if you're thinking, oh, I haven't got time to look after myself, even just grabbing that tea, that coffee, that honey and lemon, whatever it is that you drink, can just be enough for a moment to just regroup and reconnect with yourself and give yourself your moment. And actually, that's when you can really connect with your emotions as well. So just ask yourself in that moment, how am I feeling right now? What's going on for me right now? And that can be really, really helpful. Sometimes if you're at work and you get one of those emails where if you respond right then, it's probably not going to be a good career move because you're pretty hacked off with the email or the content of it, or the person's annoyed you. That's a great opportunity to have a mindful moment. Just acknowledge, I'm actually really quite cross right now. I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to write the email and leave it in my draft. Yeah?
That happened to me on Friday.
Did it?
Yeah. I was very cross. And I acknowledged it and I put it away because I didn't want to deal on it all weekend. And when it came to Monday, I saw it in a totally different way.
Brilliant. That's great. Really good.
It would have really exploded.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about taking control, isn't it? So I'm not trying to stop you, Karen, but I'm just going to any minute now it's going to stop and we're going to move across. But thank you for sharing that, because I think that's really, really valuable. So just bear with, because any second now we will be back for take 2 with the other link. All right? I'll see you in a minute.